We're joined in studio by Hanlie Gouws, who's a journalist with Die Burger here in Cape Town. She spent 3 months going on an expedition to Antarctica with a South African research crew. Welcome, and thank you so much for chatting to us.
It's a pleasure, thanks for having me.
So, how does a journalist end up on a 3-month voyage to Antarctica?
You know, everything in life boils down to who you know. And luckily, my boss, who's the editor of Die Burger now, used to be my lecturer at varsity. And in the first 2 weeks or so of honours, he showed us his slideshow of Antarctica, because he was the weatherman there. He actually spent a whole year there.
Wow.
And since then, I've been obsessed and I've been trying to get on, but they didn't take journalists for quite a while. Due to space constraints, there's only so much space on the ship. So because in the 2011-12 season, it was the last voyage of the older gullers. So they invited media again and we could all apply. And I think it helped a lot that my boss knew that I really wanted to go and that I'd done my research. So I was chosen to go, and yeah, there I was.
So let's go back to you preparing to go to Antarctica. 3 months out of day-to-day life is quite daunting. How did you prepare?
I had very little time. I only found out that I was going about 3 weeks before we sailed. In that time, I had to complete a medical form of 6 pages. You literally have to check everything before you go, of course. I had to pack, I had to shop, and I had to write a couple of stories and do a lot of research because the old ship didn't have internet. So everything that I thought I might need, I had to research and save onto my laptop. I spoke to people who'd been there before. They gave me a lot of good tips, like bring hangers and bring a dress and little things like that. But yeah, there's no way you can really prepare to go.
What does one do with a dress in Antarctica?
There is a formal handover function when the official operation of the base is handed over to the new team, where everybody dresses up a little bit. And there's normally a captain's dinner as well. We didn't have one on the ship. But then it's nice to just not wear a blue overall for once.
I think the obvious question is, how did you prepare for the cold?
One is much more adaptable than one thinks, because in the beginning on the ship, I was cold. I always went out with my very thick down jacket. And then eventually you start walking around in shirt sleeves, and that's not normal. Have a bra, walk outside in Antarctica in my jeans and my hiking boots and my jacket. This is not me. I get cold.
I just love that take South Africans to Antarctica and they will be braaiing.
Of course.
That's brilliant.
Of course. It's at the base for New Year's we had a huge braai, and one day it was just an absolutely perfect day. Everybody was standing outside in t-shirts. I had a braai. That's what South Africans do. We braai.
We braai. Right. So what was an average day on the ship like, and how long did it take to get to the base?
To get there takes roughly 2 weeks. Depends on how much time you spend stuck in the ice.
Does that happen?
It happens. It depends on the thickness of the sea ice and how fast it sort of closes around the ship again. So it's on the way back from the buoy run to the islands where we drop off weather buoys. We were stuck for more than 2 days. So roughly 2 weeks. The way down on the ship very much depends on what you're there to do. The oceanographers, the weather service, everybody literally, as soon as the ship goes out of the waterfront, they start working. People on the year team have their meetings, do their planning, briefing sessions about what to expect, how everything works, how to be environmentally conscious, what you do with all your waste, also. So it was very educational. We had something every day. We had to do rope training, doing knots and all sorts of stuff. So we were fairly busy, and in between all of that, of course, I worked as well. Wrote my blog, wrote my stories. It was very interesting because it was like, I guess, how people lived in the old days. You write your email in a text document, put it on a memory stick with your name on, run 4 floors up to the communications officer, drop your stick in the inbox, and then come back very expectantly later to see if it's in the outbox, and then run back to see if there's something on it. A reply to your email.
That's amazing.
Or message from home or something.
Now, you've mentioned your blog, and we will get back to that. But first, tell us, once you arrive in Antarctica, what is it like, and where do you stay, and what do you eat?
When you get there, most of the people are flown by chopper to the base. The base is 150 kilos from the ice shelf where the ship parks and offloads all the, well, not all the cargo. Some of it goes to the German base, from where it's 300 kilometers. That was amazing, and an opportunity so few people get, because you drive 300 kilometers over this complete alien landscape where you definitely feel I shouldn't be here, nobody should be here. Oh, look at all the black smoke. Like, it's amazing. It is so mind-blowing that there's no time to think. There's no, you're just there. And the most strange and alien thing is that you smell nothing, because there's nothing to smell. So it is awesomely exciting, and we got caught in a whiteout on Christmas Day, and then we drove to the caboose, which is like a little caravan in the middle of nowhere, to stay over to wait out the whiteout, and then from there it was another full day to drive to the base. The base is really, really comfortable. It's got space for about 100 people, nice and warm inside. The rooms are really comfy. Shower, you can have a shower every second day, because you have to make the water yourself, which is a real effort.
How?
The biggest problem facing bases in Antarctica is that they get buried by snow, so they literally get crushed. So ours is built on stilts, on a ridge, on rocks, so that the wind can blow the snow off the other side of the mountain. So the only place where there's deep enough snow to make water is about 200 meters from the base. So when you want to make water, you have to kit up, weigh all your gear. The shoes weigh, I think, 6 kilograms. The whole suit thingy, everything, your balaclava, your super duper gloves, everything, and there you go, with a few friends to go make water. So then first you have to find it's called the smelly, it's the snow smelter. Because you have a vague idea where it is, and the person who was there before you stuck a stick in there somewhere to sort of give you an indication of where it was. But now you don't know if the stick is at the far end, the back end, the middle, wherever. So you start digging until you find the hole. Then when you find the hole, there's usually a snow bridge on top of it, because that's how the snow melts. So you have to jump on it and hope you don't fall in until until the ice bridge breaks. And then you start shoveling snow into the hole, wait until it melts, and then you can pump it up back to the base.
Great. And tell us about your blog. You kept a very regular sort of account of what you were doing and what you were seeing, and it became very popular back home.
Yeah, which just showed that people are really into anything that's adventurous and new and interesting. So I started the blog before we left, just as an introduction, but I wrote, I think it was about 70 posts in the end, and somebody picked it up somewhere, and within a 2-week period there was suddenly a spike of 20,000 hits. The responses that I got, a lot of people emailed their responses. A lot of it was people whose family members were there and for some reason didn't contact home enough. So I got a lot of personal messages that I then passed on, stuck on the notice board for people saying, hey, your dad says hi, stuff like that. People want to know how scary it is to get off the ship onto a rubber duck, being chased by a leopard seal, all in the name of weather data. And that you can't really put in a news story because of space limitations and of course the register and the style of the newspaper. But in the blog you can write whatever, and your limitations are up to you. So I realized the success of the blog when I got back, because we'd run out of interesting chips about 2 months before. So there were only boring flavors like tomato and cheese left. So I wrote on my blog 2 or 3 days before we got back that I was really craving salt and vinegar chips. And when we got to the docks, there were people waving packets of salt and vinegar chips. And I was like, oh, okay, success. And you're not allowed to bring anything on the ship or off the ship before customs have been through the entire ship and okayed your passport and all of that. But then somebody's grandmother bribed a security guard to chuck one packet onto the ship. Yeah. She said she appreciated my blog and she read it from the beginning. She's German, Doesn't speak a lot of Afrikaans, but she figured it out, so yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So finally, do you have a new adventure on the horizon, or given the opportunity for a new adventure, what would you do?
The way we work, and which I completely agree with, is to give somebody else the opportunity. So we really want to send somebody to Gough Island. I said to the boss, I will do all the admin and I will help choose the right person and all of that. So it's exciting to help somebody else do something as exciting as you did. People always say, South Africans, yeah, I know, we braai and we play rugby. We're actually doing some really, really cool stuff, so it's really exciting to stay involved.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck with keeping in touch with the Agulhas and all your reporting to come.
Thanks very much.